Everybody get up, no need to cram now. We got a real jam going down, going down, going down, going down, going down, going down. Welcome to the IntelliJAMS.
All right, welcome back. We've got a recurring guest. It's not Adam. We got Shane. We got Shane again, and hopefully he's going to come join us a little bit more often now. Shane, welcome back.
Oh man, I think is this round 2 or round 3?
It might be round 3. I think this is
recurring.
Round 3.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, exactly. It went from 2 to 3, and when it hit 3, it's now recurring.
I need a plaque.
Yes. Shane's joining us because we just wrapped Q1, and I wanted to jam on everything that happened in Q1 on the IntelliJAMS side. What did we launch? Not talking in hypotheticals, like actually talk about what launched, what's live, what can people use, how would we use it, just kind of jam on the big things that happened in Q1. If that's cool with you, Shane.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Man, I was doing the Q1 recap, and the line items, the number of things we shipped is crazy to look at. But then, at the end of the quarter, it's also awesome to look back and just see how we progress on everything we shipped too. So a lot we can jam on.
All right. There is a lot of line items. We're definitely not going to get to everything in this episode. So let's hit on the big stuff. If anyone wants to know everything, we'll put a link to the recap post. You can go explore it all on your own. But I think we need to give the people what they want at the start of this. I think like the most talked about thing from our customer base, from the market, is how is all of this changing with AI, and like where are we investing? What has happened on the AI front at IntelliJAMS?
Yeah, definitely. AI everywhere. You hear AI in every daily conversation, work related, non-work related, with friends at the bar. Like AI.
I just got
everywhere.
an AI cold call, man. It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, but I mean, yeah, it's important. So, Q1. I mean, we went super deep in AI. The first thing that we started with was MCP. So with our MCP, whether you use Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT, you could now access all of your IntelliJAMS data. So test data, experience data, site-wide analytics data, personalization data, like everything that lives inside your IntelliJAMS account, you can now access with the tool that you use, your AI tool of choice.
Love that. And we've been seeing, I've been seeing people do a lot of cool stuff with the MCP. And maybe do you want to hit on a few things that people have been doing with that? Because like obviously you have all this context and you're now putting it somewhere where it potentially has context from other areas of your business as well. So for people who are using those AI tools, this MCP, what have we seen people do with that? What has it unlocked?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for the default users, there's various users in AI, right? Like you could be more on the novice side doing stuff in ChatGPT or simple things to make your content better or to help you brainstorm or whatever. What we've seen, I think, especially the last 3 months, is default go to Claude, default go to your tool of choice and plug as much info in there as possible to help you operate your business better, your brand better, your personal life better, as we've seen with some folks on the internet and internally. Shout out Victor. But what we've seen is when you have everything at your fingertips here, you can build on whatever questions you want. So if you want to start with, hey, tell me what I need to know about my testing strategy over the last 3 months. Like we have all the context and we can see, where did you test? Were you testing content? Were you testing pricing? What pages were you testing? What were the winners? What were the ones that we made a lot of learnings on? How did we progress from there? With site-wide analytics, now you have all of your data that's happening on your Shopify store. So how can I figure out what to test next? Like, where is all my traffic going? A lot of this lives in the platform, and we've gone deep in making the platform easy to understand all of your data as well, with charts and graphs and metrics and all these different places. But to query it in plain language and just continue in a session, we've seen our users, agencies, power users, novice users, like people just getting into it, see this as a super, super powerful tool to help figure out, what am I doing now and what can I do next and where can I go to help continue to, drive profit and drive optimizations from my brand.
I think that's the thing I've loved the most since the introduction of the MCP is basically like you're sitting on mountains of information and like having to parse through it all takes time. It takes not even just time, like there's a little bit of like an expertise to it to find what you need. And hooking it into these other tools takes that away, which is like I can basically just ask, what should I do next? What's worth doing? Which is like a very important question. And then to follow that up is, did it work? And like being able to ask all these questions in plain language, but even just asking questions that are not even like specific to the data, right? Like asking questions, like, let me clarify what I mean there. Not like, hey, how did test A perform? But ask a more generalized question like, hey, am I selling more of my high margin items this month? Okay, cool. That's giving me a lot more insight that can be used to ask a future question, put a future test together, get more validation on something. And I think that's like the biggest progress here is help people find more places to go learn and ask important questions, not just like put together a test to put together a test and then get on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other great thing about like these conversational tools is you don't have to worry about one-shotting it. You don't have to worry about like, oh, I need to just get this prompt right and I need to understand this immediately for my own sake, for the team's sake, for our quarterly revenue target, whatever that may be. It's like I can just understand this a lot better by spending 30, 45 minutes, however long, 15 minutes, whatever, however long it takes to help you get that mindset and figure out how can we grow this business and what are my opportunities and what should I do next. So I think it's super exciting. And yeah, definitely the default go to Claude for everything now has been part of my workflow for sure, which has been fun.
And we actually just released something else on this front. So like having that MCP, having these APIs has made it easier to hook into tools for people who are working there and have started to stitch this together. We just released something else, which I think is just as interesting because we're basically taking all of that power and making it a little bit more accessible, a little easier to do some of those things that we were talking about without kind of like all the other work.
Yeah, so I love the lead in there. We just released our at IntelliJAMS Slackbot. And so our at IntelliJAMS Slackbot, if you're living in Slack, tons of our customers do, a lot of our agencies do. You now have essentially the exact same power as all the data that's accessible via MCP right inside Slack. So this has been, I think, a game changer. If, as we were talking about, the novice user, the experience, the like super expert user in these different tools, that's great. Not everybody's there. We're all working in Slack. There's so many connections we have in Slack. So why not just do it in Slack? So now with our Slack, our at IntelliJAMS Slackbot, you get all of your data right available in Slack. Site-wide analytics data, test data, personalization data, like anything you need to know, you can just at IntelliJAMS, what should I test next? At IntelliJAMS, tell me how my test is doing. At IntelliJAMS, like what is my checkout conversion rate trend over the last 2 weeks? Like it's actually incredible. Like it's it's like this is one of the features I'm most hyped about because we did the MCP first that allowed you to do all this stuff, but the ease of it and like the less effort, there's so much less effort and it's just it's incredible. So
You get that,
stoked on that.
and the benefit too is like those Slack channels that are connected in with our team, like there's a support component to this as well. So like there's even it's going to lack context of other things that you have pulled in, like this is scope specific to IntelliGEMS, but the benefit of it is you have access to the team. You have access to like our support, our docs, our help, like our knowledge inside of there, which I think is great. And dude, the seeing brands interface with the bot and like some of the things they're cooking up, like I love when a question leads to a question, which leads to a question. Is like you thought you had a question, and then it turned out that wasn't actually what I cared about. I've now dug like 3 layers deeper to what I actually wanted to get to, and I've been seeing so many brands like get to that spot with the Slack bot, and that's just been so exciting.
Yeah, it's like it's a way faster path to collaboration. Again, because it's where you work. And so if the main person, managing IntelliGEMS at a brand, or there's a few folks managing, and maybe they're interfacing with the data the most, or they're interfacing with our team the most. Now with the ability of with the Slackbot, like you can ask all these questions and someone might monitor the channel and say, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to jump in this thread and ask more questions either to the bot inside the thread or to my team as we're thinking about, oh, what are we testing next? What's the roadmap look like? Oh, that's an interesting, like we should try this creative, whatever that may be. The other thing with that too, Alex, and why this leads to more collaboration across the team is we launched the NCP. We've had the external API with all these different endpoints, and we've seen agencies build into that a lot. They want to automate their work. They want to figure out whether I have 5 clients or 50 clients, like what's the testing program? What are all the tests we ran? What's all the data based on the tests we ran last week or last month? How do I get a report? And so we've been working with our agency partners to give them all the data they need so that they can build whatever they need to. We've seen some Slack alerts get built, like a test started or a test ended or a test reached 1,000 orders. And we've had that for a few months now. And so what we did is we took all of that learning working with our partners and said, let's just do this right in Slack. And so you don't have to do all this extra work. And so another piece of the Slack bot is we have alerts. I think we have 5 alerts that you can turn on, but there are even like sub alerts and settings. So if you want to say, when a test reaches 500 orders and it's been 7 days, send me an alert. If you want to see when it hits X revenue, send me an alert. If you want to see when I'm not getting visitors because maybe I set the test up incorrectly, like
Yep.
you can do this all automatically. And so it takes a lot of the burden, the stress of like the mental load of thinking about me as a brand just operating my own brand, or if I'm an agency, like how do I just know everything that's going on? And again, it just happens right in Slack.
I think one of the longest ongoing jokes at IntelliJAMS is that we should start like a therapy group for when tests start. So like hey, this has reached 500 orders is like, you think about that collaboration aspect inside of Slack. It's like, hey, this test has reached 500 orders. Like we can probably go look at this now versus I set up a test. Shane comes in, looks at it, starts asking me questions about the test. Like, why is this tanking? Why is it like either like, Alex, you're an idiot, or Alex, you're a genius. We need to scale this to absolutely everything. It's like, whoa, hold on. Let's wait till it gets to 500 orders or whatever you set the threshold at to actually start to be like, okay, can we learn anything from this test versus, all right, we're making a knee-jerk reaction. But it's very real. Like for everyone listening, you're probably thinking like, yeah, I've done that. Either I'm a genius or, oh yeah. Or what does Nate say? There are no losers. I just switch what I'm comparing to and I'm always winning.
Yeah, exactly. We're always winning. We're always learning. Yeah, I think the alerts are also just amazing. Daily summaries if you want that level of detail, if you want weekly summaries, like there's so much that you can do, and we made them crazy configurable as well. So, man, if you're on Slack and you're using IntelliGEMS and you don't have the integration set up yet, you got to do that today, because there's just so much power in there, all powered by AI, human powered customer support. Like you get access to our team, and you can just, breath of fresh air, relieve, stress reliever, whatever you want to call it, to just get those alerts, not have to worry about checking in, and know that we set up the automations for you.
Love it. All right, more to come on the AI front when we come back next time to jam on this. We'll keep some of that one under wraps till then. I want to switch gears to something else that we've been working on, because one thing for avid listeners of this show, something I say all the time is like, test beyond what's typical. Like go find places where you can learn that aren't just the normal landing page, UX change, like something that's scoped to one spot. So we've been talking a lot about like, hey, how do we test further through the customer experience? How do we get more learnings across more surface area of the D2C site? And we've been doing some really cool stuff on the checkout side of things. One thing I'll say is what we're about to talk about for checkouts, this is Shopify Plus because of the way Shopify is set up. So I will preface what we talked about here with for Shopify Plus. But let's talk about checkouts, because like this is super exciting to me. And like when I say test beyond what's typical, like we're going way beyond typical now.
Yeah. I mean, checkout. We talked about this. I don't know. You and I talked about this internally or even on the podcast. But like, we just want people to smash that pay now button, right? It's like smash the pay now button. There's so many ways that we can think about this at checkout, and now with IntelliJAMS, we can power so much of that thinking and help you test beyond what's typical at checkout. We know from hundreds of tests now that there are things that might work kind of more standard best practice out of the box. We know that some things work for other brands and some things work for or some things work differently for different brands. That's generally, I'd say, the landscape that we work with in IntelliGEMS is like there are best practices, but you also need to go validate yourself.
There's always nuance. Operate in the realities of your business for sure, but always steal like an artist. There's great inspiration out there for you.
Exactly. So that helps you figure out like where to start, but go and validate it yourself for sure, and get to the question. It's like, did I do it? Does it work? Right? Like, did it work? So the ability to test content at checkout. So like, what types of content should I show? Should I show my warranty? Should I show my return policy? Should I show 5 stars? Should I show a press quote? Should I show like? There's a lot of content. Should I show a shipping call out that our warehouse is closed for the next 10 days and it's going to be delayed? Like, how can I use this easy content update option at checkout? That's amazing. Should I show that versus showing products? Like, should I try to focus on the conversion lift of showing these trust badges or these reasons for a visitor to hit that smash now button? Or should I try to get more dollars? Like, do I show product upsells? If I show product upsells, should I show 1? Should I show 3? Should I show 5? Should I show low value items? Should I show items based on what's in your cart? Like, all of that stuff we can now power with IntelliJAMS, and you can validate it by launching a test, or you can turn it on and launch it to a subset of your users or to all of your users via personalization. So amazing stuff that we launched there. I think the product upsell piece, we've been doing a lot of, we launched it and we've been doing a lot of enhancements there. So with the Shopify recommendations API, like Shopify has all of your data. We have all of your data. We can show you what are the best items to show at checkout for the upsell if you want to add upsells. So I'm very excited about that and interested to see how our customers and brands use it and what we see in the next few weeks on the adoption of different types of upsells and what we see.
Yeah, talk to me a bit more about the upsell side of things, because I think that it's an area where people want to experiment. Like you were saying, like, should I offer like there's 2 schools of thought. Do I show one thing and like reduce the amount of options, just get you added to the cart? Do I show 5? Do I show 10 because I just want like more in front of you? How easy is it to set up an experiment in checkout? And then I think a follow-up question to that is, a lot of people I think have some baggage on doing upsells in checkout where like, oh, it's so complicated to set up. It like I end up doing something and then it just like sits there forever because I'm not going to update it after that.
Yeah, definitely. So one, I think like as IntelliJAMS, as we expand the surface area where we can impact your store, checkout is a big one. Upsells, like there are a million apps in the App Store, of course, that can do this. There are some great apps in the App Store that can do this, but it takes a lot of mental load to think about like, again, what should I set up? What should I show? And then it's a different app. And so another reason we added this is we have all the data in IntelliJAMS. Like we can influence this and we will get stronger and better at influencing like what you should do at checkout. In terms of tactics, like what I've seen a lot with working with our customers is there should be a split immediately that I think you should do is you should think about desktop and you should think about mobile. So like you should actually start with legitimately 2 tests at the same time, because the placement and how you set up your Shopify checkout and where these blocks actually go, they look as like a standard placement in Shopify, but they show differently on desktop versus mobile, of course.
Yep.
And so table stakes, desktop test and a mobile test at the same time. In terms of setting it up, like you can set this up from scratch, start to finish, without much thinking at all in less than 10 minutes and get live. Like that is, I think, the beauty of a checkout test or a checkout personalization is it is very, 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 very easy to turn it on within 10 minutes, knowing nothing about it.
When we did the all hands presentation of this, I was blown away by like how quickly, like how easy it was to find what I was looking for, how easy it was to add it in. And I think like for everyone listening, it's now easier than ever to ask those questions that you've had.
Yeah.
Should I show 1? Should I show 5? You're now going to be able to know that instead of guessing and just being like, oh, well, like this school of thought. No, try them against each other, see what's working, what works for your brand. And like, hey, I love what you were saying before. Like, should it be a low value item that's just like an easy add on? Hey, maybe I can get like more of those into the cart, but maybe on a higher value item, I'm not getting as many of them into the cart, but like on a profit per session
Yep,
or profit per
exactly.
visitor, I'm actually better off by having less people take the bigger option than lots of people take the smaller option. These are all things that you can easily set up and learn. Again, test beyond what's typical. You don't need to just test an individual like landing page or conversion point. You now have the ability to experiment kind of like through the entire funnel of your store.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And again, back to there's tons of apps out there, but the power of IntelliJAMS is you can test it, you can validate, and you can roll this out. So, reduce the mental load as much as possible and get firing today. Like it's so easy. So that'd be my my call to action here is just go set up a desktop test, go set up a mobile test, and if you're going to do upsells, use the Shopify recommendations. Don't even think about which products. Just use Shopify recommendations and let the data tell you, and then go from there.
I know we said we couldn't hit on everything. I think there's one we've been hitting on a few things in here where basically like, hey, you now have a higher level of understanding across kind of like the entire site. It is not scoped to like an individual experience. You now have the ability to interface with that data in an easier way via the MCP, via the Slackbot, more surface area to experiment in. Can you talk to me a bit about going to like the analytics nerd a bit? Is like we have some new ways to visualize and look at your data. And I think that historically in e-commerce, we've always been like, oh, individual experience. And like this kind of gets to what you were saying about there's a ton of apps is like when you're always looking at the effectiveness, like scope to a specific individual thing, you can sometimes lose the forest like through the trees where like, hey, what's going on generally across my site? Like how can I use kind of what's going on across the experience, across the funnel to figure out what to do next? And I think we've made like a lot of progress in there from an analytics side.
Yeah. Yeah. So we if you're not familiar, we have the site-wide analytics feature built into the product where we have 3 pages of performance P&L, audience dive, and order distribution. We have a new page that we built in Q1 called the conversion page. And so that helps answer a lot of these questions. And again, all this data is then piped into external API, MCP, and the Slackbot. But if you're a visual person and you're working inside the app and you want to look through that, the conversion page has a Sankey style chart. So you can follow the different customer journeys through landing to all the different steps they make and isolate them, similar to what you might do in GA4 or another tool. But again, it just lives right in IntelliJAMS. And the power that you have now inside this with all the other contexts is super, super helpful. So if you love these style of charts, we now have them in IntelliJAMS, and you can go deeper that way. Follow the path, understand where's the opportunity, where's my traffic coming in, where are the drop-offs, and in that, okay, there's a lot of traffic coming into here, but there's a huge bounce rate, or there's like super low conversion, or super low add to cart, whatever that may be. Maybe I should go into this path and figure out what that customer journey looks like and how can I optimize that customer journey. So, yeah, super, super excited about that chart. It's live, I think, in most accounts right now, but I think it might publicly launch in the next few days. But yeah, that was a big, big launch in Q1 for sure.
Love it. I personally am obsessed with that style of graph, like the ability to just kind of look at it to kind of triangulate on areas that I might want to go experiment in. Like you were saying, oh, if something's happening here, even if I'm not able to figure out exactly what's happening there from that view, it's like, okay, I'm going to go dig deeper there. Maybe I use Claude. Maybe I use the Slackbot to like go dig deeper into there and figure out what to do next. Yeah. Okay. we've been hitting on a lot. We said we're not going to hit on everything. Shane's always looking for beta testers for features. Anything that's coming into beta soon, Shane, that you're looking for people to reach out to get involved with?
Yeah, for sure. So we launched our visual builder in beta, also in Q1. Not going to touch on it too much, but exciting to see the progress there. Is a quiet launch. So check it out next time you go to build a content test or content experience. We have a few other betas coming down the line in the next few weeks. Some post-test metrics, some test recommendations. There's a lot of stuff going on. So if you want to get in the beta, in any beta, definitely follow along on our newsletter because that's the best place to see updates. We post our blog with product updates probably every other week and other ways to get into the beta as well. But then I think most of all, like biggest reminder here is if you don't have a Slack channel yet, get a Slack channel with us. Just go to your integrations tab and connect your Slack channel. It'll open a new channel with us. You get access to everything else, and you get access to the IntelliJAMS team too. So really easy to get you involved on the betas, and would love to get you involved however you want. And product recommendations, as always, like keep them coming. And so that Slack channel is an easy way to share with the team. If you don't have Slack, support at IntelliJAMS.io, fire it off, and we'll get you going.
There you go. Get Slack connected. If you have Slack, just reach out inside of Slack. You don't need to hit up Shane or I specifically. Just say like, hey, I'm interested in betas. We will get you into the beta. Make sure you're following along on the newsletter. If you're not subscribed, just head to IntelliJAMS.io. Scroll to the bottom. There's a subscribe button there for you to get into that. And just follow along with the blog because Shane's pumping out great content on everything that we're working on. Like once a week, at least every other week, get an idea of what's coming there. So make sure you're following along to get all the new updates and reach out on Slack if you want to get into beta. Shane, thank you. This was amazing.
Awesome. Thank you all.